Myles Garrett is a Ram, and A.J. Brown is finally a New England Patriot. Talking NFL trades right now. Well, it is June 1st, and that means that a lot of teams have freed up some cap space with post-June 1st cuts. And that also means that the trade market was alive today. So we'll start off with the biggest NFL news and the most surprising, because A.J. Brown, quite frankly, we have known was probably going to get traded. But Myles Garrett is now a Los Angeles Ram. And look, as surprising as that is, if you ask me, the most surprising thing is the return that the Cleveland Browns got. Now, I hate to pile on to Cleveland sports right now because obviously the Cavaliers did not really show up for the conference finals. But the Cleveland Browns fetched a 2027 first-round pick, a second-round pick in 2028, and a third-round pick in 2029. So that is it. That is all that they got in return, draft pick-wise. Now, they also got Jared Verse, which is a nice piece and a nice player from the Rams. So that's awesome. You can build around him. That's great. But let's not get it twisted here. Jared Verse is, I don't think, in the same league as Myles Garrett, nor do I think that he will be there. Again, still a nice pickup. He's a solid starting defensive end. But damn, that is all. I would have rather had picks than Jared Verse, because Jared Verse has shown me flashes, but really it's not like someone that I think is going to be a Hall of Famer by any means, right? I mean, we'll take a look at his stats. He's played 2 years. And quite frankly, if you look at it, yes, there's been improvement from his first year to his second year, but it ain't that drastic. I mean, 4.5 sacks his rookie year, 7.5 sacks his second year. And also, you obviously want him to be good, right? Well, if he's good, guess what? You're going to have to pay him if you're Cleveland. So, and it's not like this year you're really pushing to be a contender. So let's say you have a great season this year, and now let's say in the next 2 years you start trying to get into the playoff race and contend. Well, by that point, you're going to have to pay this guy. So I would have rather draft picks than Jared Verse. Now, look, I'm not criticizing getting Jared Verse because he's a nice player. He's on the third year defensive end. But to only get one first rounder when, I mean, you look at what the Packers gave up for Micah Parsons. Yes, and you could argue, well, they're different kind of players, Micah Parsons and Myles Garrett. Yeah, but the impact, I would rather have Myles Garrett than Micah Parsons, right? And if they're both players that are, fetching top dollar, and, they were able to get 2 first-round picks. And another thing, too, is, I mean, I almost would have rather gotten the Rams 2028 first-rounder instead of the 2027 first-rounder than Jared Verse, because the Rams are going to be good. There's just no way around it, right? There's no world that you can think of unless, obviously, an injury to Stafford. But then even an injury, if an injury happens, God forbid, to Matthew Stafford, a serious injury, the Rams have put in all their chips into this season pretty much, that at that point, you almost know for a fact they're going to make a trade for a quarterback that can come in and maybe obviously not be as good as Stafford, but at least be competent to where the team's not going to miss the playoffs. Like, in what world do you see the Rams missing the playoffs? Like, they would have to have the worst injury year ever. And again, if you say that Matthew Stafford, knock on wood, gets hurt, you don't think they're going to trade for a quarterback that could come in and run that offense? And their defense is going to be so damn good that you don't even need, I mean, the Vikings were the worst defense, in my opinion, than what the Rams will be able to put out there now. Got to 9 wins last year with J.J. McCarthy, Carson Wentz, and Max Brosmer. And that's a less proven coach. Sean McVay, give him a Carson Wentz. And, there's guys also off the street that you could, Ryan Tannehill's still out there. Yeah, he hasn't played football in forever, but I wouldn't put it past Sean McVay to be able to coach up Ryan Tannehill to not screw it up. And basically, hey, get me 14 points a game, because our defense with Myles Garrett and that secondary is good enough. Remember, they got Trent McDuffie in the offseason. Like, they are loaded now. And yeah. So for Cleveland, I just don't know how they couldn't have gotten more for that. I mean, you don't think the Bears would have given up 2 first rounders and a young talent for Myles Garrett, especially a team like the Bears that isn't paying their guys just yet. So they would be more incentivized, in my opinion, to get a Myles Garrett, because now you can pay him and you're not thinking about destroying your roster next year. Right? So when some guys start becoming available for extensions, you can still pay them and keep Myles Garrett. Obviously, in the Rams' point of view, they're probably thinking this is Matthew Stafford's last year. So Myles Garrett would jump into that salary slot, let's say, and now we'll roll with Ty Simpson, the rookie that they drafted this year, and see what we got there, or go young at quarterback, because now we're not going to be able to pay for a quarterback. Well, the Bears, even next year with Caleb, aren't going to have to deal with that problem. They still have 2 more years of Caleb on a reasonable deal where you're not paying the quarterback, so you could pay Myles Garrett the quarterback money. So, again, I just don't know how the Browns didn't get a better return. I mean, you can say, all right, well, the second-round pick is of good value, and I agree. A 2028 second-rounder from the Rams, sure, because by that point you're thinking, well, the Rams won't have Stafford. Well, what if they find a way to get an extension and Stafford does come back? That pick's going to be like 57th in the draft, because already the first rounder next year, like I said, in what world do you see the Rams missing the playoffs? That is a late 20s pick that Cleveland's going to get from Myles Garrett. So that's why I said if it's a 2028 first, it's pretty much like, would you rather have the 26th pick in the draft and Jared Verse, or would you rather have the 6th pick in the draft? And I would rather have the 6th pick. And that's being generous, obviously. Because the Rams, if they have to start losing guys because they can't pay them, and let's say they go with a rookie quarterback that they drafted, so they're not maybe going to bring in a solid, it's if Kyler Murray balls out with the Vikings and becomes a free agent, I don't think the Rams can afford him next offseason while keeping the core together, and also then afford the decision of, hey, we drafted Ty Simpson 13th overall, and now we're going to sign a quarterback off the street. Then what was the point of drafting Ty Simpson, right? So, again, the Rams, congratulations. Man, they know what they are doing. That is a home run trade for them, in my opinion. I'm typically not even a fan of these kind of trades because I don't like when teams give up the future for right now. But they didn't give up the future, in my opinion, right? They set themselves up nicely. I mean, hell, if Ty Simpson ends up being pretty good, just pretty good, not superstar status, just a pretty good quarterback, and now you lose Stafford because he retires, and Ty Simpson can play pretty good quarterback, well, you still got a hell of a team. That's like put Cam Ward on the Rams after his rookie year, expect Jaden Daniels, right? I mean, he was a superstar his first year, so I guess we can't count Jaden Daniels, but a quarterback that showed promise. Cam Ward didn't have the best rookie season, but if you put Cam Ward on that Rams offense with Sean McVay, and now a defense that has Myles Garrett and all the other studs they have, and Trent McDuffie as a corner, well, damn, you got something there, right? So, the Rams are putting all their chips in, but they didn't give up that many chips, in my opinion, right? They're essentially, it's the same thing they did last time when they traded away draft picks for Jalen Ramsey. And now they're doing it again, but giving up less than what they gave up before for Jalen Ramsey and all those studs that they had in their Super Bowl team. Insane. And, what's to say Aaron Donald doesn't come out of retirement and say, hey, let me get one more ring? Again, incredible. Tough day, I think, for Cleveland, because if you're going to do this, then shop them around. The Baltimore Ravens were going to give up 2 first-rounder for Max Crosby until they pretty much found out that he wasn't 100% healthy. You don't think they would give up 2 first-rounders for a healthy Myles Garrett? Come on. So, insane. And the other trade, obviously, we knew was coming. It's been rumored to be happening, but A.J. Brown is a New England Patriot now. He goes to the Patriots for a first-round pick in 2028 and a 2027 fifth-rounder. So, all right, the 5th rounder, whatever. The 1st rounder is valuable because even if the Patriots continue to go in the upward trajectory that they're going, they just made the Super Bowl. Say they found their, Drake May seems like a guy that can lead the team and be possibly a franchise quarterback for sure. Well, now, 2 years from now, if they're a playoff team, that pick is going to be late 20s. Look, I wouldn't have given up a 1st-round pick for A.J. Brown. No way. I would not have done that. I don't think you give up a 1st-rounder for a receiver these days unless it's Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, and even those guys. Yeah, you'll give up a 1st-rounder, but realistically, receivers, you can draft stud receivers. Every year, there's a stud receiver that comes out of the draft, right? I mean, book it, right? Every single year. But not every single year is there a stud quarterback or a stud left tackle or, a stud. I mean, I guess there is, sure, you could say a stud defensive end. But that's because in the draft, probably like 20 defensive ends are drafted or more in the 7 rounds, right? How many wide receivers get drafted in any given draft? Probably 20 plus. Some years, I mean, a couple years ago, I think there was 6 wide receivers drafted in the 1st round. So the chances of a receiver, being, getting gold with a receiver is out there because every year there's stud receivers that come into the league, right? So a 1st-rounder to me is a high price, especially for a receiver that's older like A.J. Brown. Like in my opinion, Devontae Smith would have more value because he's younger. But the Patriots wanted this. Vrabel has a relationship with A.J. Brown, so that's fine. 1st-round pick in 2028 is probably going to be like the 20, like I said, mid to late 20s, assuming they stay good. But that's just risky. It's risky when, especially if you got Drake May and you got to prepare for that. You don't want that to happen. But if your offense runs through Drake May, if something happens, he gets dinged up for a few games, that 1st-round pick, that could be like the 10th pick in the draft if you have a rough season and you go 6-10 or 6-11. So risky move by the Pats. We'll see if it pays off for them, but I wouldn't have done it. But when you look at them giving up this 1st-round pick, and again, the Rams giving up the 1st-round pick, yes, I know, along with Jared Verse, sure, but still, A.J. Brown, if you do a list of the top 100 players, Myles Garrett is in the top 10. A.J. Brown, is he top 50? I mean, comment below if you think I'm really wrong about that, but I can count on one hand receivers I would put above him, right? Again, I already said Jefferson. I already said CeeDee Lamb. I already said Jamar Chase. I would rather have Puka Nacua. Jackson Smith and Jigba. I know I'm missing so many guys, but that's what I'm saying. That's 5 already that I've named off. And I did not think this through very much to think about what other receivers I would put there, right? So, yeah, I don't know. And he's got a contract you got to pay for too. It's not like you're getting a Mika Ibuka last year from the Bucks who had a good year coming on strong. Yeah, he tailed off towards the end, but I think he's still solid. I almost would rather trade for a guy like that than A.J. Brown, who's on a hefty contract. And sure, you could say, well, the Patriots have salary cap. They're going to have to spend it somewhere. All right, but then don't give up the 1st-round pick. Overpay for a free agent. So I'm not sure why the Patriots went, after him that aggressively. And again, I just don't understand why the Browns decided to do this now. Why not do that? Why not trade him before the draft? Right? Why not trade Myles Garrett then? So good for the Rams. Honestly, good for the Eagles because I think the chemistry there was messed up. And, I'm not saying it was A.J. Brown's fault, but clearly something was off and you're not trading Jalen Hurts. So might as well get what you can. You got a 1st-round pick. So that's pretty solid. So that's how I feel about that. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. But wild day with trades and expect other free agent signings to happen as we go on. Now, one more thing I want to talk about. The New York Giants signed Odell Beckham and they signed Braxton Berrios. And I will say I've seen some clips of Malik Neighbors, who I would have had way above A.J. Brown, but obviously he's coming off an injury. And even coming off the injury, I might have had him above A.J. Brown, except for some of these videos of him like playing dodgeball and running around the bases. He doesn't look healthy. And the fact that the Giants went out and signed 2 receivers today, first day post-June cuts, tells me there's a little bit of worry there. And it sucks for them because obviously they got a young stud QB in Jackson Dart that looks like he could be legit. Look, there's games last year where he sucked. They played the Vikings and I'm a Vikings fan, so I watched that game throughout. He had 30-something yards passing total in the whole game. I don't think he looked like a stud that game. But obviously, people think he's got something. I mean, the other games, he looked like a legit quarterback. And now you're a wide receiver 1 that was a high draft pick that looked like a stud is dealing with that knee injury, and that's rough, man. So I don't know what will happen there. But if he's not healthy, like that would be an excruciating loss for the Giants. Again, give him time. But Patrick Mahomes got hurt later than Malik Neighbors, and he looks to be running much better than Neighbors. So I almost feel like there was a setback there, or I'm not sure. But also, a guy like Mahomes needs his legs less than a guy like Malik Neighbors. So that's concerning. So look out for that. We'll see what happens there. There's still guys that, like where's Tyreek? Where's Tyreek Hill going to go? And things like that. Now that teams have free agents, that have money now that they can spend on these free agents, I expect a couple other moves like that to happen. We'll talk about them on the podcast. So again, thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Wild a couple trades today. Can't believe it. So, all right, guys, till the next one. Talk to y'all then.